What's up, Life Kids? We are so excited you have joined us again this month. It's August. We're super excited about school starting back, whether you're at home or you're in school. We're so glad you're joining us today online. We're going to talk about God's promises all month long, the whole month of August. We're going to talk about how we may live in a crazy, chaotic world, but we know that God's promises are true and we can stand firm on those promises. So I tell you what, get up right now, get out of your seat, and let's do some praise and worship.
To cling to, but I'm gonna cling to you. An Iron Man's got his repulsor raised, but for me that'll never do. I'm living in the power of your Holy Spirit. I push that sin away. Got the power I've got inside of me, and I'm gonna stand today. Captain America's got his shield, and I've got a shield too. It's true, it's true. You're my superhero, died on the cross to make sin zero. You're my savior and ultimate hero. You're my superhero. Superman's got the power to fly, but your love takes me higher. It changes me on the inside. You touch me with your fire. I've heard of the Fantastic Four. You're the Fantastic Three. The Father, Son, the Holy Spirit, the Super Trinity. Captain America's got his shield, and I've got a shield too. It's true, it's true. You're my superhero. Died on the cross to make sin zero. You're my savior and ultimate hero. You're my superhero. Died on the cross to make sin zero. You're my savior and ultimate hero. You're my superhero. H-E-R-O, you're my superhero. H-E-R-O, you're my superhero. H-E-R-O, you're my superhero. H-E-R-O, you're my superhero. Superhero, died on the cross to make sin zero. You're my savior and ultimate hero. You're my you're my superhero. Died on the cross to make sin zero. You're my savior and ultimate hero. You're my superhero. H-E-R-O, you're my superhero. H-E-R-O, you're my superhero. When I was searching, your love was never far. You made a way to get to me. You were the whisper leading me to your heart. Forever I belong to you. Now I can see clearly, my God, you for me. You won't let go. Love won't let me down, and I know it's true. Yeah, I know that your love the sky with promises of your grace. So I will find my way to you. Now I can see clearly my God, you for me. You won't let go. Love won't let me down. And I know it's true. Yeah, I know that your love is all around. I believe in you, holding on to you, holding on, and I know you will never fail. I want all of you, you never change your love won't let me down. Holding on, and I know you will never fail. I want all of you, you never change. Your love won't let me down. Love won't let me.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everybody's having a great morning so far. And so this week, or this month actually, we've been talking about God's promises and how God always keeps his promises. And so let's just recap real fast what we've talked about the last couple of weeks or the last several weeks. So the first week we talked about how God promises to fix what is broken. And then the second week we talked about how God promises us mercy. And I know I've needed mercy before. And then last week we talked about how God's promises are for now and for later. And so sometimes we have to wait. And so that's kind of hard sometimes. It's hard for me, even as an adult, to be patient and to wait on God's promises. But let's dig into the Word a little bit. So we're going to go to Genesis chapter 37. But I'm going to have Carly and Jake come up to help me real fast. Hey, guys.
Hello.
Oh, goodness. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We know Carly can draw really, really good. You try. Okay, so just kidding. We give Jake a hard time.
Talented and very well versed in fine arts.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read part of our scripture, and I want you guys to draw certain parts that stand out to you. Okay? Here we go. If you want to follow along, it's Genesis chapter 37. And I'm going to start at verse 5. We're talking about Joseph. So one night, Joseph had a dream. And when he told his brothers about it, they got really mad. They were so mad than they had ever been before. So let's listen to the dream. He says, this is Joseph saying, "We were out in a field, tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly, my bundle stood up, and your bundles all gathered around and bowed before mine." His brothers got so mad, and they said, "So you think that you'll be king one day? Do you actually think that you will reign over us?" They got so mad they even hated him because of his dream. Soon after, Joseph had another dream, and he told his brothers about it. "Listen, I had another dream." He's so excited, they're not. He said, "The sun, the moon, and 11 stars bowed before me." This time he told the dream to his father as well and his brothers, but his father
asks, what kind of dream do you think this is? Do you actually think that we'll bow before you? But while his brothers were jealous of Joseph, his father continued to wonder what the dreams actually meant. Do you have dreams sometimes and you wonder what they mean? So let's see what Jake and Carly's got so far from their drawings. So we were talking about Joseph and his dream. I can't wait. I'm excited. Okay.
This was pretty good.
Okay. It's your best work yet?
It's close, if not.
Okay.
That painting back in 2015 was pretty good. This is close.
Okay, Carly. Let's see her big reveal. Perfect. So, oh, you know what? I've got stalks of grain too. So she's got stalks of grain because Joseph dreamed about grain. And then sun, the sun. Yep. The moon. I've got the moon too. Stars.
There's
Oh yeah.
11 of them.
I've got stars. It's very specific.
Yep.
And then we talked about a dream. So she's got Joseph laying in his bed dreaming.
Pretty good.
Very good. Okay. You ready? Yeah.
Let me explain.
Okay.
So you said the hay or the bowing down.
Grain.
I think all
bowing down.
11 drew because my hand wouldn't move that fast.
Okay.
There's
Okay.
that.
Yes.
The
very
stars that happen to look like grapes, actually
Yes.
stars.
Good. Yes.
The sun and the moon.
Yes.
Joseph sleeping.
Uh-huh.
And Joseph's dad saying you're my favorite.
Okay. 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 Well, let's watch this video and see if that helps us a little bit more with our Bible story.
Hey friends, how are you today? Shout it out! I think I've got to be the best at making slime ever. Do you like playing with slime? I can make slime out of anything. Toilet paper, anything. Even sand. Speaking of sand, I wonder where my friend Dan is today. Hey Dan, what are you up to?
Hey, Callie, I found the most interesting creature, and I'm so fascinated.
What did you find?
Callie, I found a turtle. A turtle doesn't care how fast the world is moving around it. It will move whenever it wants to.
So it can't go fast?
Not at all. Have you ever felt the need to want to go faster or get somewhere faster, but you still have to move slowly?
Oh yes. Whenever it's time for school to end, it feels like it's taking longer than usual.
Exactly. That reminds me of the Bible story of Joseph.
It's time for our Bible story. A long time ago, there was a man named Joseph. Joseph was a part of a very large family, so large that he had 11 brothers.
11? That's a lot of brothers.
Yes, 11 brothers. Out of all the sons that his father had, Joseph was by far the favorite, and his father gave him a beautiful coat with lots of colors. The brothers were not happy about that. They became pretty upset and became jealous of Joseph.
Oh no!
Things became worse for Joseph during this time because he would get special dreams telling the future. For example, he dreamt about 11 stalks of grain bowing to him. And then he also dreamt about the sun, moon, and 11 stars bowing to him as well.
What did that mean?
Most likely, it was a dream that reminded him of the brothers in his family. 11 stalks of grain, 11 stars. I'm sure Joseph thought of his 11 brothers when he woke up. The dream suggested that Joseph would become someone very important, maybe even more influential than all of his brothers.
I hope he didn't tell his brothers his dreams.
I know, right? But he did tell them, and it made things worse. The brothers ignored all of the dreams and great things that Joseph told them would happen and came up with a plan to make him go away.
How did they do that?
They put Joseph in a hole in the ground, and when some traveling merchants came by, they gave Joseph to them to take far away.
Merchants?
Merchants are people who sell and buy things. These merchants were on their way to Egypt, and now Joseph was too.
That's very sad.
It was, But Joseph knew the dreams he was getting came from God. Wonderful dreams that God would make happen one day. He knew he had to wait and trust God, even though he was far away from home now.
Isn't that so interesting though, friends? Joseph knew that God promised great things, but it probably felt like they were never going to happen when he got into that bit of trouble with his brothers. But you know what? We're going to find out next time that Joseph's story is nowhere near done. I know that God will keep those promises in the end. Maybe now I can work on being more patient in school when the day is ending. Or not. Catch you next time, friends. Bye. Callie out.
What's up, Life Kids? You know what time it is. It's time to go over the scripture verse. Now, this month we're talking about God's promises. And so back in the Old Testament, God never failed to fulfill his promises, especially to Israel. So that's what the verse is about today. So you know how it goes. I'm going to say it, read it a few times, and I want you to repeat it after me. So, not one of all the Lord's good promises to Israel failed. Every one was fulfilled. Joshua 21:45. Now, I'm going to say it. I need you to repeat it after me, okay? Not one of all the Lord's good promises to Israel failed. Every one was fulfilled. Joshua 21. 45. All right, here we go. One more time. Not one of all the Lord's good promises to Israel failed. Every one was fulfilled. Joshua 21. 45. All right, here we go. I need you to stand up. Get a lot of air in your lungs. We're about to scream it one time. Parents, I'm sorry. It's about to get loud. So, not one of all the Lord's good promises to Israel failed. Every one was fulfilled. Joshua 21. 45. That was awesome. That was so good. Now we're going to enter into a time of worship. So I want you to find some place to stand in your living room, wherever you may are. Grab your brothers, sisters, and we're going to stand and worship God.
Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. And you have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me. And you have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. When I was your foe, still your love fought for me. And you have been so, so good to me. When I felt no worth, you paid it all for me. And you have been so, so kind to me. And oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99. And I couldn't earn it, and I don't deserve it. Still, you give shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. There's no shadow you won't light up, mountain you won't climb up, coming after me. There's no wall you won't kick down, lie you won't tear down, coming after me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. Oh, it chases me down, fights till I'm found, leaves the 99, and I couldn't earn it, I don't deserve it, still you give yourself away. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God.
Hi there, you chicken nuggets. It's me, Carl, and welcome to Grow TV.
Hey everybody, it's me, Cassie, and I'm super excited today because it's my birthday, and you know what that means.
What?
Come on, you know.
I don't.
Last year you forgot to buy me a present, and this year you said you were going to buy me something really great. Remember that, right?
Yeah.
Welcome to Grow TV. Introducing your host, Carl, and your co-host, Cassie, where we learn, where we grow, and we talk about Jesus. Once again, welcome to Grow TV.
Hi, Cassie. So it's your birthday today.
Yep, but you already knew that.
Of course I did. Happy birthday.
Thanks. So what'd you get me?
Well, it's a surprise. Come in.
Why'd you yell that?
Someone ring the doorbell.
I didn't hear anything.
Well, your hearing must be getting worse with age, Cassie. You should go see who it is.
I don't know.
Oh, someone's knocking.
All right, I'll go check.
Okay, everyone, I did not know it was her birthday, and I cannot not get her a gift again. It'll make me the worst friend ever. So we gotta make a gift.
Hey, I'll just do this.
There's no knocking outside. It was just that lady who's always screaming at the birds. What is this?
This? It's your surprise present.
My surprise?
Yep, be careful with it though. I spent a lot of money on it.
Did you?
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Just say thank you.
Thanks. Carl,
Yeah?
you forgot my birthday, didn't you?
What? No! No way did I forget your birthday. You're crazy. That's insane. No way did I forget your birthday. Okay, yeah, I did forget your birthday.
You didn't spend any money on this, did you?
I did buy the tape.
Listen, Carl.
No, Cassie, I'm sorry. I totally forgot. I know I promised I wouldn't forget, but I did. And I really tried.
Carl, it's okay.
What do you mean?
I knew you forgot, and I just want you to know it's okay. I actually kind of like the present.
Do you?
Sure. And to be honest, the promises I care about the most aren't the ones my friends make. It's the promises God makes, because you know they're always going to come true.
Always?
Always.
Always.
Yes, always. You remember Joseph? He was put in prison for something he didn't even do. But even in prison, God was still with him. Joseph had a gift of interpreting dreams, and one day Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, heard about it. Pharaoh asked Joseph to tell him what his weird dreams meant, and Joseph did. Joseph also gave him advice to plan ahead for the tough times coming, based on the dreams Pharaoh had. This impressed Pharaoh so much that he had Joseph taken out of prison and become second in command over all of Egypt. And then years later, his brothers, who thought he was dead, reunited with him and bowed at his feet.
Oh, just like the dream he had when he was younger.
Yep, God kept the promises to Joseph, and God is keeping the promises to us now.
Like what kind of promises? Maybe I can get a promise and give it to you for your birthday.
That's nice of you, but everyone gets God's promises. It doesn't matter who you are. God's promises are for everyone.
All right, I knew that. Like, every time I clear my plate at dinner, I get dessert. Every time I eat dessert, I get really hyper.
I don't think any of those are promises God made. We can read the Bible to find real promises from God. Like Isaiah 41:10 tells us God promises to always be with us, so we don't have to be afraid. Matthew 6:33 says God promises to give us what is best for us when we put God first. And 1 John 1:9 says God promises to forgive us when we mess up.
Those are some awesome promises. God made all of them?
Yep, and not only does God make us promises, God keeps promises.
Can I promise you one thing right now?
Sure?
I promise I'm telling you the truth when I say, that's our big idea! Our big idea is God keeps promises.
So let's say it on the count of 3, okay?
Okay, 1,
2,
3. God keeps promises! Good job, everybody! Woohoo!
Thanks, Carl. Even though you forgot, you really made my day special.
Well, thanks for being understanding. I'm not very good at promises.
No worries. Plus, I ordered a cake for lunch and I told them you'd pay for it. That's all right, right? See you next week, kiddos.
Thank you for watching, and tune in next week for a new episode of Row TV.
Okay, guys, I just want to encourage you to do something really simple. And I think I'm going to do it too. I know I take like pieces of paper, maybe not this big, maybe like half the size, or like an index card or something. And a lot of times I'll just write a Bible verse on it and stick it on my mirror in the bathroom, or stick it somewhere in my house to help me just think on that when I'm having a rough day or something. But I just want you to take a piece of paper and write, God keeps promises. And I want you to put it in your room. If you want to write it multiple times, put it in your room, put it wherever you can see it often. Put it in your book bag for school, write it in your notebook. I don't know, just keep it where you have a constant reminder that God keeps his promises. So we're going to go a little bit more into Genesis. We're going to skip over to chapter 40, continuing our story about Joseph. So Joseph has, since he was sold by his brothers, he has ended up in Egypt. So he's away from his family. And so he went through some pretty good times, bad times. He even ended up in prison. So he was rescued from prison, and then Pharaoh kept having dreams. Pharaoh was the leader, and so he kept having dreams, and nobody could tell him what they meant. So one day somebody was like, hey, you know, Joseph, there's this guy Joseph, and he can tell you what those dreams mean. Well, Joseph made it very, very clear that God was the one that was interpreting the dreams, that he was just the vehicle that God was using to interpret those dreams. And so the dreams were that Pharaoh was having is that there were 7 really, really, really big cows on this land. And then there were 7 really small cows on the land. And he just couldn't figure out what that meant. And so I encourage you to read Genesis chapter 40 with your parents or with your siblings this week, so you can review what we're talking about in depth. But so Joseph interpreted the dream for Pharaoh as there's going to be 7 years of really great things, great crops. Like there's going to be like plenty of food. And then there's going to be 7 years of famine where people are going to go hungry because they're not going to have any food at all. And so Pharaoh appointed Joseph to be a leader because of him being able to help him interpret that dream. And so God kept his promise, even though it took 13 years. Like, some of you are not even 13 years old. Probably none of you are 13 years old. But that's how long it took for the promise that God had given Joseph to be fulfilled. And so even though it may take a really long time, God keeps his promises. And so on into the story in Genesis chapter 40, you'll see that back in Canaan, people were hungry. They didn't have any food. And so Joseph's family was part of that people. So they traveled to Egypt looking for food. Well, they had no idea that their brother that they had sold was now in Egypt. And because of God's promises being fulfilled and because of Joseph being faithful and always believing in God, that they were going to be able to have food. So how do you think you would respond if somebody had been so mean to you and so ugly to you, and then here they come and they're hungry? Okay, so Joseph forgave his brothers, even though they had been so mean to him, had treated him so bad. He chose to forgive them. And you know what? He even said God was in control the whole time. Like, the things that happened were all part of God's plan. And he was in absolute control the whole time, even when I was in that pit, or even when I was feeling so lonely because I had been sold into by merchants, sold by my brothers to merchants. He still knew that God was with them and that God was going to keep his promises, even though it was really tough for him. And so he stood steadfast for 13 years. 13 years it took for him to get a promise fulfilled. And so just know that God will keep his promises. You keep praying, you keep believing, you keep writing those scriptures down, you keep looking at your note card that says God keeps his promises, and just get that in your heart. So on the days that you have a really bad day or you're just feeling kind of down and out, you can look at those cards and be reminded that God keeps his promises and God loves you. We love you. I hope you have a great week. Bye.
Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We hope you had a great time. Hey, feel free to watch this video again throughout the week if you need a reminder of what we talked about today. And we will see you guys next week. Bye.